You really are the sum of the obstacles you overcome. By the way, want to see something beautiful? This would be my husband.
Oh, hey. Oh, well, hello. Hey, ladies, everything is possible. It doesn't matter. Manifest. Let's manifest, ladies. Come on. If Forbes can do it, you can do it.
I've been through some crazy stuff. It's not any better, any worse than anyone else. I've just always seen my life like a movie. Whatever was going on, good or bad, I have the ability to step out and kind of watch it and enjoy it like I'm watching a film. And then when I think about Joshua, I really do look at it like that ultimate romance. He came in the other night and he kissed me and I thought, this is like every great moment in a rom-com where the guy finally kisses the girl and she melts. I wanted that. So if it's true that what you want, you can manifest, you believe it, you draw pictures, you make vision boards, you do all the things that you've heard that maybe you have gone, oh, that's for other people or that can't really work. Here's the thing, if you don't try it, I guarantee it won't work. So if you buy into this notion that life is freaking extraordinary every single day, and you get up in the morning, you're like, I get to play, I get to live, I get to get on a podcast, I get to have sex, I get to do whatever, as opposed to, oh God, it's Monday, oh, this is terrible. You take that attitude, and I promise you your life won't be happy. And you will live for the weekend, and you'll live for that drink, and you'll live for the New Year celebration. Or you could live every day like it's spectacular.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We're here once again at Jill Collins Connections. I have someone super special to share with you today. I want you to get your pen and paper out because you're going to want to take a lot of notes, and you're going to want to be ready to share this with other people because this is going to be phenomenal. I have none other than world famous Forbes Riley here. Forbes Riley is a celebrity host. She's a pioneer and industry leader in the field of infomercials and home shopping TV. She's done so much with her life. I don't want to get in too much detail and get about it because I know we're going to talk about it, but she's a best-selling author. She's a high-performance results coach, and she just started her career actually in movies and acting. So we have a lot to talk about today, but I just love the fact that she's a thought leader and has a brand on a mission to ignite hope and prosperity. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get started. Forbes, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Well, welcome. You know, I do have to correct you though, because no one's ever said it that way, but I didn't just start acting. I've been acting since I was 16 years old on television. I've starred in a dozen movies, lots of television shows from 24 to Boy Meets World. And what I just did, because that's my passion, was to rekindle that. And 3 weeks ago, just started as the bad girl in an action-packed Western feature film. So
Yeah.
I am living the concept of one door opens. You don't need to have just one career. I've had 95 careers, and that you can reignite any of them at any time, because I let that go for a while to raise a family and to start a business, start several businesses. And that was a very personal passion of mine, because I got to tell you, when you're an actress, there is nothing more selfish and wonderful. They call you Miss Riley. Can I please get you coffee? Can I get you to your trailer? Can I do this? Like, yes, yes, yes. And then you get to go to the premiere as though you did something world shattering. Meanwhile, those of us who started courses and changed lives, nobody really cares very much. But go to a movie, oh, you're in a movie.
Yeah, I always wanted to be an actress growing up. My dad said, oh, you're not that. And I love it. I love it. Because I think it's just, you have such a presence, but you didn't always have this drive. And I'd love for you to tell us about the Forbes when you were younger too, because today you're so big and you're doing so many great things and you inspire millions of people across the world. So tell us how it started so that we can give some people hope. Is like, you weren't always this way. I wasn't always this way.
No, and none of us are. You really are the sum of the obstacles you overcome. I'm watching, and Netflix, congratulations to them for doing some biopics on people that we've all grown up with but never knew. And I've watched Stallone's biopic and just talking about how he was absolutely abused by his father to the point that when Rocky came out, his dad wrote a script about a boxer just to compete with him and how that drove him, or how Schwarzenegger had also a very, very abusive father that caused the death of his older brother. And you're like, you know, it's funny. It really does seem that you are the sum of the obstacles. And if you can embrace this crazy notion that life happens for you, because I can tell you a very tragic little story of a little girl who was very ugly, who didn't matter to anyone except herself and her two parents, and was very dismissed. I had a broken nose at some point that literally looked deformed. I had braces for 8 years of my life, and for 2 years I had a tongue twister. I couldn't talk to anybody. That's a problem. You know, I don't think the orthodontist who thought he was making my teeth straight, which is great now, would realize that it totally inhibited and hurt my heart and made me dismissible. And I used to watch movies and television as my best friends. I had very few friends growing up. I had no social skills whatsoever, and I was very happy to do that. This is the other thing. I'm not complaining about my life at all. I wouldn't have traded the love I had of two parents, because I know what it's like. I deal with a lot of kids who have nobody. And having nobody in this world who loves you when you're younger destroys something in your soul. It really does. And it causes criminals. It causes greed. It causes misbehavior. So a lot of the adults that we deal with, you don't know if the person sitting next to you has been raped, molested, hurt, whatever they've done. My beautiful daughter at 21 went to a funeral yesterday of a friend that she had hung out with, who, when he was 6 years old, sought some refuge in a church. The priest kidnapped him for months, raped him, and threw him away. And he became a drug addict, and he recently in his 20s just went too far. So you can start to see a pattern here that if it's not interrupted, and if we don't have it in schools where teachers care at all about kids anymore because there's too many of them, or the rules are too weird, or they're telling them not to listen to their parents, or the parents are having so many jobs because the economy is crazy. I think if we want to preserve anything, that we really have to spend a little time loving on our youth. Or one of the things that I do now, and I've been doing this also for decades, but not very publicly, is a traumatic healing. Is I do a thing where I work with people between hypnosis, acting, and neurolinguistic programming. I have a passion for healing people who cannot find their own path. I figured it out, but I also stumbled upon a training many, many decades ago, like I was 30 years old, and it doesn't exist anymore. But it allowed me to see that your brain is not what you think it is. You can change memories. You can change your reaction to memories. You don't have to stay stuck in patterns. And there's so many ways to grow who and what you are beyond what you currently believe you are. And how do I know what you believe? You tell me. I am this. You said I am nervous at some point. I am a klutz. I am not enough. You say those things, you become those things. And it's not as easy as going, oh, just put a mantra on your wall that says I'm enough and I'm amazing. There's a level of work involved, but it's doable. It's accessible. I've now worked with veterans who've killed people. They were told to, but they never got over it, or they saw things that's all erasable. Your brain is so fantastic that I'm very committed in this part of my life to allowing other people to see there's magic beyond what they believe.
I'm amazing because it is our words become who we are, and it definitely impacts that. So thank you for course correcting there. Because it's an interesting, and I think then we talk about, I know you've said this before, is kind of how do we know who we are? How do we start with this? It's how do we start with getting on the right track? How do we correct ourselves? How do we see what our language is, and where do we go with that?
Well, number one, Jill, you don't have any of that manic that you just said. Why do we care who we are? Why do we care so much?
Mm.
I think that we as humans, we're very, very misguided. I have to find my purpose in life. When I find my purpose, I'll be happy. It doesn't really work that way. When you get your dream and you get the Oscar, I'll be happy. Or I get $1 million, I'll be happy. Well, people who win the lottery are never happy. They all seem to implode. People who win Oscars also are drug addicts and have to go into recovery. So I think that you start with a couple of simple questions. What makes me happy? What do I love doing? Can I afford to do that? Do I want to be doing that? I know I can tell you what makes you unhappy. Listening to other people. Here's the irony of an ugly, lonely little girl. I had no friends and we have no family. My mom was an only child. My dad had a brother. I have no cousins, no aunts, no uncles. I had no grandparents. They all passed away by the time I got there. I had nobody telling me I couldn't do stuff. And I reveled in that. I've done a lot of very, very disruptive things because I don't stop to ask permission. I don't hurt anybody, but I've done some pretty out of the box things just because I'm not going to ask you what you think. I'm just going to go and do it. And then you have the time to tell me what you think. And by then I don't care. So, and I know it sounds crazy. So just sit with yourself and say, well, what do I want? What do you want? Everyone asks me Christmas time, what do you want? I'm like, here's the funny thing about what I want. Anything I want, I get. I have everything that I want. And what I want is I wanted the love of a beautiful, amazing man. And I listen to Mariah's Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Man, that is so freaking true. I don't really care. There's not a single material thing that would compare to the love I have for my husband. Nothing. And that took decades. He's not my first husband. I made a mistake. I invested in a man and have 2 beautiful children because of it. We're still business partners, but we're no longer together. Because I also think that as humans, we should start celebrating divorce. It is not, in the 50s, you couldn't tell anyone you were divorced. Oh my God, you're a tainted lady. Well, bullshit. You know what that means? You went through a period of time with somebody, and you either had a great time and then wanted to move on, had a terrible time and realized it. But let's put a little chapter close, because we don't do this in high school. None of us sit here, Jill, and go, I wish I could go back to high school. I wish I was in high school. No, we closed the door and we moved on to college, or we moved on to life. And then we closed another door And now I'm an empty nester. I can't go back to being little baby. Close the door. And so if we start to view divorce like that, we should celebrate divorce and have parties. Congratulations. We buy dishes and we have registries for people getting married. But people who are getting divorced, when you lose the dishes in the house, that's when you need some help. So I think if we shift our perspective and start talking to each other in a very different, sane way, we come out of a history. And I, this last night, I was at dinner with some very religious people of several different religions, all of which I'm like, whatever. Because, if I do that, I'll go to hell. I literally have a gentleman who said that out loud. He's a PR guy I work with. And I'm like, did you really believe what you're saying? He's like, oh, yeah, no, then you have to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, wow, those are some pretty strict rules that I don't know where they came from. And if your rules are right, then this Christian guy is wrong and that Jewish kid is wrong. So which one of you is right? And somebody said something interesting that I've never heard before, but I love. Religion is a lot like blind people in a room with an elephant. If you put your hands out and you touch the horns, you think that that's God. That's your religion. If you're at the back of the elephant and you are the only one who touches the tail, you're like, that's the right one. Or you touch the belly. But if you could all take your stuff off, by the way, want to see something beautiful? This would be my husband.
Oh, hey. Oh, well, hello. Hey, ladies, everything is possible. It doesn't matter. Manifest. Let's manifest, ladies. Come on. Forbes can do it. If Forbes can do it, you can do it.
Yes, that's my beautiful man, Joshua, who has been through hell and back as well, and has a tremendous story of recovery and overcoming, that I was attracted to his story as much as I love who he is and what he looks like. But he has a dad who was killed when he was 2 years old. His mom then married many years later the brother of that man. It was a small town. She fell in love with him. He helped raise the two boys, and he was killed in a car crash at 15 when Joshua was 15. How do you overcome that? Well, in Joshua's mind, he has always been a physical champion. And then when he was in a horrible motorcycle accident 3 years ago, and stuck in a wheelchair for 6 months and as depressed as I've ever seen anybody, and he withered away to nothing, how he built himself back to be a massive champion bodybuilder in less than 3 years. And just this last week, as a gift from the universe, he got to be the body double for Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's a huge fan of, in a State Farm commercial that will play during this Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh.
And so we count our little wins, and everyone's like, oh, he's the greatest guy. And he's only the greatest guy because he loves me to a point that I can't say I don't believe it, but it's magnificent. The way this man talks about love and loyalty. Now, why would he be that loyal? Because he doesn't want to lose people. Make sense?
Mm-hmm, totally.
What he went through helped make him a man that I've never met this man before. I've never met someone that I trust with everything. And here's how you know this. I have other girlfriends who'll say, oh, you're going away without him? Oh, I don't know if I would trust that. And I'm like, then you're not in the right relationship, girlfriend. We're hanging out with Christy Brinkley and a whole bunch of other female celebrities. And trust me, they're all very hot. And he was like, she looked at me. I'm like, I know, right? But he doesn't really look back. And I know this because of how his psychology is.
Sure.
So, we don't spend a lot of time wondering what if. Here's the thing. A couple things that you should do if you're listening to this podcast. Number one, congratulations. Jill seems to be an absolutely beautiful, amazing woman that I'm looking forward to getting to know. She is gracious. And here's the cool thing about Jill and a lot of women I've met who are no longer 8 years old. 8-year-old girls suck. Maybe 8 to 12, 8 to 15. I don't know what it is about us. I was a girl. The catty, mean, judgmental. And then I watched my daughter go through it. And I'm like, it wasn't just me. Apparently, it's the culture of little girls. When you get to be a woman, I've looked at the most beautiful women in the world and so glad that I'm not them. You look at Oprah, really successful. I listened to Oprah talk this morning. I didn't realize that Oprah was sexually abused from the time she was 9 to 15, 16. She was pregnant at 14. I don't want to be Oprah. No, I don't care what she has in life. I don't want to be anybody, given what they've gone through. And when I look as beautiful as you are, I know you've been through some stuff. And that's what I want to love on because you're a person. You're an amazing person. And it took me a long time to come to that. So what do I want? I want to literally be happy. Now, here's a fun thing. You might want to, one way to do this is to uncover, because part of you is your stories. So Jill, here's an exercise that I do with my students. What's your first memory in life?
Being in the house growing up when I was probably 3 or 4 years old, playing with the dog and Christmas, things like that. like just being in a
Well, not
Christmas.
things. Give me a memory because that's a great memory. You have a good family, loving parents.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't all, it was a tough upbringing. But
Well, but so
yeah.
hang on a second. So at that moment, though, now get this. Let me go uncover something about Jill here. At that moment, what was your decision about life?
Well, I would say when I got, I think there's something that Christmas, it would be my decision about life is I wanted to share with people because I remember my dad giving me a microphone and he said, he was talking to me and asking me questions like, what are we doing for Christmas, little girl, and all this. And I was like a talker. And then he,
Right. So
and
wait. So wait. So
yeah.
that's okay. I wanted to share with people. I
Mhm.
love that's now. How does that work out through your life?
Um, Pretty well. I'm a pretty big talker, but in terms of wanting to share and wanting to be like an advocate for people, like I want to represent what somebody can't say or speak or do.
Well, that came at a different point. I'm going to tell
Okay.
you that decision because we have not talked about in specifics all of what happened, but something bad kind of happened. And what if you have a great first memory about 3 or 4 years old, the
It was
bad
okay.
part.
It was okay. That's enough now. You're talking too much. That's what I got out of that. It's okay
Oh,
now. Now it's enough. Okay, you're done. That's enough.
all right. So what decision do you make about that?
Don't talk too much.
No, that's not the decision. Talking too much annoys
I
me.
don't. Okay, because I don't. Probably I don't matter enough to keep talking. I don't.
Oh, stop right there. Stop right there. There was a decision. This beautiful little girl who wants to share with the world somehow also got implanted a decision, not one the memory, but the decision of, I don't matter enough. Now that, my girl, in my opinion, the way I work, means that you've been struggling a little bit with, I'm great, but I don't really know. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. That's the only issue right now that I see that you really suffer.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fixable.
that's
Right.
true. Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, if I could fix that, if I could meld the two broken halves and put them together with I want to speak and share with I am more than enough and I know it, massage it all together, make it a beautiful little snowball, you will feel better about your life. You don't have to go out and find your whole passion. It's already there for you. And that's
Mm,
what's beautiful about it. I think it's uncovering it, exploring it, exploding it. And if it's negative, you can put that memory, a file on a computer, you can put one file behind another. We can
yeah.
take in your brain the way you process information, a negative trauma, which you've held on to that's kept you from moving forward because you always bump up against it. Like one of my girls whose dad was killed during a drug deal. So every time Father's Day comes up, she's paralyzed and she was stuck, literally stuck. You mentioned a father or family or holidays, and she would be stuck and she got very brittle. Well, we took that memory and put the memory of her dad behind the memory of a TV dad that she fell in love with. I won't tell you who, but there's a famous TV dad that she's like, oh man, if I had that as dad, life would be great. And we did some exercises where that's now the dad that she thinks about. And he didn't lose her original dad, but got rid of all the triggering trauma. And then you just live a better life.
I think that's fascinating because that's something I did. Like you, I grew up watching TV. I was a TV fanatic, and so I got my examples from TV. I didn't have a lot of friends. I tried to make friends, but I was picked on and whatever because I
Which
was
is
too dull.
guys, which is so weird. When you look at
How's
this
that?
stunningly beautiful woman now, and you're like, wow, what was going on? But maybe all those things had to happen
Absolutely, I
for you to
agree
get
with
where
you
you
on.
are.
Yes, yes. I wouldn't trade any of it. I really wouldn't. The loss of my husband, all these different things that occurred in my life. It's just it's all brought me to where I am today. But then there is still that little thing that sticks out that sometimes it's like, but are you sure about that? Who do you think you are, Jill Collins? And that's the thing. And so it's
Well, we'll do a little session because
sure.
that should not, because that is hurtful to my heart. In the same way we talked about, my dad was an inventor and an amazing, wacky, beautiful magician, inventor guy who lived a very blue collar life. And he said to me one day, kiddo, how do I get my inventions out to the world? I remember saying, Dad, I'm 8 years old. I have no idea. And so I set on a path to help other people. But what was left, the residue of that was to see people who have unfulfilled potential hurts my heart. Means that I'm driven to make a difference. And for about 2 decades, I took inventors onto home shopping. I got their inventions out to the world. I wrote them pitches, and I really did help. The evolution and the metamorphosis for me now is to do that with just human beings like you. You don't need to be an inventor. You don't have to have an idea. You just have to have unfulfilled potential, because that also harkened back to my mom. My mom was overweight her whole life. She was a beautiful woman who had issues because of her immigrant parents. I didn't know all those things were going on. I didn't understand. If I could have unpacked what I know now on her life would have been completely different. But who am I to say? I was sad that she left the planet at 70. that was way too young, diabetic, and all those things that she succumbed to. And I think that that's what a lot of people suffer from. Relics of their past that they've not come to put in place. So they'll drink too much, or they'll sex too much, or they'll overeat too much. And all of those things, my baby, I love you, you don't have to suffer with that. You just don't. So, and it, again,
I think it's what you said too about how you want to help other people because of your dad and his inventions. And that's exactly what I'm doing with this channel. I'm working on doing my own content. And right now mine is like, I just get so excited about meeting somebody and I want to share you with the world. I want everybody to hear what you're up to. This is so innate in me since I was little. It's just, okay, I found this amazing pen, everybody. So that's why when I started watching I'm like, right. It's like, you gotta check out this pen. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite new thing. Soda Stream. It's incredible. I don't drink alcohol.
I did the original Soda Stream infomercial.
Get the heck out of here. Are you serious? I want to be an ambassador for Soda Stream because I don't drink alcohol anymore. And so I'm like, this is what people ask me all the time. What do you drink then when you go out? I'm like, club soda with a splash of cran and a lime, just like a vodka cranberry and a lime. That's what you do. And it's like Soda Stream is my thing. So I have them in both my houses.
Well, that's so funny. If I can find that infomercial with me, I introduced that to the world. I know I've been around a long time. I invented water. If I can find that would be just, you would laugh your butt off. Here. Okay. So allow me to share, if you will.
Yeah, you can. It's open.
That's kind of crazy. I haven't looked at this in a very long time. Let me see if I can find exactly where it's supposed to go. This is so funny.
This is what you do. Because see, it's what's so neat is what you do is you find things that you're excited about. And I watched your things about pitching. And we're going to put all the links that Forbes has available, what she's up to in the world. So you can definitely check her out and find out how to
check this out. This is the original Soda Stream. It's called Soda Club back then. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Wait.
Oh my gosh.
I was really young during here. Wait. Okay. Let's. My personal favorite. What is that? And that's terrible. And there you go. That's a part of my life. But actually, what's even more interesting, though, if I go back here, and I'm very, very excited about that. While you've not seen this one is going to hit the airwaves again. I've sold $1 billion worth of this. Very creative with my recipes. How about that's my son. That's my baby. Your kids. Okay, Jack LaLanne is going to be played by Mark Wahlberg in a movie coming up that's starting to film in April.
Right there. Sex and money.
Oh my goodness, Jack. Thank you. If you don't like that, you don't like sex or money. That was him at 96 and 95. Fortunately, he was in a wheelchair at that point. We'd worked together for 8 years. Our first show we did when he was 88, sold $1 billion worth of juicers. So Jill, part of my career and my mania has led me to meet the most amazing people on the planet, be inspired by them, spend time in their homes. That's been the most amazing part of this. I own a television studio here in St. Pete, Florida, and I have about 100-foot wall. And at one point I took and put the pictures of my life. I literally give tours like walking through a museum of my life because it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating that I went from starring in Splatter University when I was 20 years old to hosting the original X Games to doing 195 infomercials with everyone out there in the world and National Talk Show, National Fitness Hall of Fame. You're like, you did all of that in your little life and you had no rich parents. You had no guidance. I had very few mentors. I just kept one foot in front of the other, crazy open mind. And I really do. I wish I had a little bit more guidance. I could have gotten to places quicker, perhaps. I wanted to be as famous as Julia Roberts and Sandra Bullock. You know, again, my path is different. You can't go back. But it was been fun to look at. And now I guess I need to do a documentary. Just because.
Yes, do a documentary. And by the way, we had one of those juicers. My dad was all about it. We'd go to this farmer's market every weekend and he'd buy like boxes of apples and carrots and kiwi juice like crazy. So yeah, so that was amazing. And Jack LaLanne is incredible. Wow, what a name. What a name. You've been with
you know, I get to hang out with his wife, who's now 97 years old. She's one of my absolute best friends. The fact that Mark Wahlberg is doing a movie on a book that I'm in, we just wrote and launched last year. It's just like, thank you. Thank you for this life, for the sense of full circleness, for all the such struggles that I went through. I I raised a little boy for 12 years who was murdered. I've been through some crazy stuff. It's not any better, any worse than anyone else. I've just always seen my life like a movie. I've always, whenever there was whatever was going on, good or bad, I had the ability to step out and kind of watch it and enjoy it like I'm watching a film. And then when I think about Joshua, I really do look at it like that ultimate romance. He came in the other night and he kissed me, and I thought, this is like every great moment in a rom-com where the guy finally kisses the girl and she melts. I wanted that. So if it's true that what you want, you can manifest, you believe it, you draw pictures, you make vision boards, you do all the things that you've heard that maybe you have gone, oh, that's for other people, or that can't really work. Here's the thing. If you don't try it, I guarantee it won't work. If you're playing basketball and don't take a shot, you never score. So if you buy into this notion that life is freaking extraordinary every single day, and you get up in the morning, you're like, I get to play, I get to live, I get to get on a podcast, I get to have sex, I get to eat meals, I get to do whatever, as opposed to, oh God, it's Monday, oh, this is terrible. You take that attitude, and I promise you, your life won't be happy. And you will live for the weekend, and you'll live for that drink, and you'll live for the New Year celebration. Or you could live every day like it's spectacular.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love the way you said live life and see it as a movie, and that life is extraordinary every single day. And I remember as a child thinking, oh, it's going to be a bad day today. I can tell. And then some days, maybe tomorrow will be a better day. It's like we don't have those tools as children. Not all of us, some of us do, but most of us don't get that message, is that you actually get to decide how your life's going to go.
Every day at every moment.
Yeah. Such a revelation when we realize that. I think it makes our lives and then I'm so aware of that now, is like when I'm feeling in a funk for a sec, all of a sudden I'm like, what just happened? What did somebody just say? What did I just read? What was I just looking at on social media? Whatever it is. And I go, okay, where's that coming from? And then do I want to feel that way? Or can I change that thought and really affect and change the way I feel about it right now? Because I don't want to feel that. So I'm really sensitive to that. And
hey, I have bad days. I'll be walking down the street the other day, and I just started missing my parents. Have both been gone 25 years, and I broke down in the middle of just crying, just missing them and wanting to call my parents on their phone number. And I just wanted them to see my kids and meet my husband. And I had that moment, feel what you're feeling, and then move on. That's the other thing, is that when you feel bad, enjoy it. I really went for it. And it's just that moment for a period of time, and now it's time to move on. I don't think we have enough wonderful, amazing influences in our life. There is such doom and gloom and horror and terror. And here's the crazy thing. I was a history minor. Go back to the 1920s. Doom and gloom right now. How about the entire Great Depression? You got grown men standing in line for a piece of bread so that they can help feed their family a little bit. Or go back to the Roman days where people were just killing each other randomly, or the crusade. I don't know, there's ever been a great time. Watching your son go off to Vietnam or World War I or World War II. Pick a time. This is a great time. My cell phone, well, you can just sit all day and just watch things. You can enjoy your life. Why are we still complaining? And I think what hurts so much is, why do we still all hate each other? I don't really care what color, age, sex, religion. Why can't we just go, can we just enjoy now before we destroy it?
Yeah.
And if we don't destroy it, AI will.
well, yeah, there you go. And it's something I heard you mention Marianne Williamson in one of your talks that I watched, and I love her so much. And I've recently been introduced to her, and the whole thing is, my prayer every morning is like, dear God, open my heart so expansively to love everyone equally without judgment, so there's no separation. And where do you find that inspiration? Because it could be so easy to just say, I've got this, I'm making this money, I have this great life. And to kind of feel like, okay, people stop bothering me so much. I don't want to get in everybody's lives. How do you just have such an expansive heart? How did you get there? Were you always in the space of just wanting to help and serve other people?
No, I'm 63 years old. I have a lot of experiences. I have a moment where I had a car in Manhattan. I made a lot of money in my 20s doing something, and I wanted to go chill. I love the balance. I'm a big sauna, massage, spa, mineral spring girl. I've sought out mineral springs around the world, and I'll sit and do nothing for days. And I found an ashram. And the next thing you know, I'm in my 20s, and I'm living at this Siddha yoga Indian ashram, doing seva, not allowed to talk, chanting and singing songs like Jota Se Jota, and eating vegetarian. What am I doing? I have the most amazing time. And I go back to, that's part of my roots. I look at, Jay Shetty and the whole monk thing. I did a period of that time. I then dove into martial arts every night after I got mugged and hurt very badly. I kicked and punched the shit out of anything I could find for 4 years. That's all I did every night. And then kept that going for years. Here's the thing. If you're feeling down, dance. I'm a dancer. I grew up dancing. Turn on the music really loud. In every one of my trainings, I now have 21,000 students in the last couple of years, all virtual. I've had some come in life, but I love the virtual. We had a big Oscars celebration the other night. Nobody moved for 4 hours. And we had celebrities but you get up and you dance. You move your physical body. You get a spin gym, you punch something, you sing, you scream, you yell. I don't do whatever you need to do, but do it. Nobody is taught that. You're taught to sit in the classroom for 40 minutes like my kids were. And I watched my second grade teacher for Riker, my son. I would go in there and she'd have the lights out. I was like, these kids just can't behave. And I'm like, they're 8-year-old boys. What the heck is wrong with you? I probably should have pulled my kids out of school because at some point that was a terrible influence. Like, people don't conform to the same thing. And why would you want them to? People don't learn at the same rate. If you're a slow learner, you're labeled. My dear friend Les Brown was labeled retarded. Guys, you got to take a little stock of where you are. And here's my other thought. I do not think you can do it alone. I think if who you are, left to your own devices, you're going to continue to go around in your own circle with your own influences. Shake it up. Whether it's me or someone else who does this kind of work, and they're everywhere. From going to an ashram to sitting and getting a detox cleanse and a juice thing for a week, to motivational speakers. You got Jay Shetty, you got Tony Robbins, you got a lot of people. Go somewhere. Go to a seminar. Do something unusual. Learn to scuba dive. That was another one that I loved. I scuba dived all around the world. When you're down, 30 to 50 feet and it's all kind of quiet, there's no one and your life is on the line because if you don't screw that up, you're going to die. All of a sudden you become very present to the moment. Go skiing. You're looking down a cliff. I've done that as well. You're not thinking about Facebook or your bills. You're going, I got to survive going down the hill and not breaking something. Live your life differently if it's not working for you. That's really what I'm suggesting you do. Just do something different. Because if you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, we know where that leads you. So I'm all about doing the physical. I don't care. Go out for a bike ride, go out for a walk, put some headphones on, do something that you don't normally do. Meet up with people, go to a group, get educated. Don't go to therapy. I am wildly against therapy. I think it's absolute bullshit. And as I've talked to many people who've gone through my program going, I did therapy for 20 years. I don't need it anymore. I don't need you to sit on a couch and have somebody ask you how you feel. It's irrelevant how you feel. Go move, change your physiology, laugh, like literally. Jill, here, let's do something. I just said the funniest joke in the world. Ready, go.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Oh my God.
Right. Just what just happened to your whole body.
It feels good. Energy started moving, positive. Yeah, it feels good.
Can't feel good and bad at the same time. That's an important thing to know.
Oh, I love that. You can't feel good and bad at the same time.
If you're laughing for no reason and all of a sudden you're like, I just want to feel bad. You almost can't. You're like, damn, I really wanted to feel bad. So
tell me, what is it? I love that you said you can't do it alone because I'm all about tribe and building community. The 33% rule, I'm sure is the, you get the middle 33% are people that you're associating with on a regular basis, coworkers, family, friends. And then there's that bottom 33% people that may pull you down sometimes or that you can help lift up. And then there are those at the top 33%. And that's what my channel is all about, is finding a tribe, finding people that are going to uplift you, inspire you, who are doing what you want to do. Get in front of those people, get around those people. And that is your community. That's your tribe. And you've got to find them. And that's what I seek to serve and offer to people, is an opportunity to meet people. And I want people to walk away from these talks and say, God, I can do that. I didn't know that was possible. And this is what it's all about, is that they need to have hope, inspiration, and a possibility. And then take action. You're saying take action, physical, meeting up, and don't go to therapy.
Don't. It's a waste of time, energy, and money. And it was started by two men back in some early time in Europe, Freud and Jung, who had the head up their ass, to be honest with you. Get off your couch and into your life is my theory.
It takes you in the past. It takes you in the past. So you're regurgitating all these things that you've already gone through.
Yeah, I don't really care how you feel about something. I care we can shift it. It's just the science has just been proven that the brain doesn't need to work that way, and it can work a lot faster. I'm going to shift something else, though. Something else that I'm very passionate about is I teach the art of the pitch. Now, what is this?
I was about to bring that up. Good. I'm glad you did, because I want to talk about your programs. Please do.
Because it's really important to understand that one of the reasons that you're unhappy is that you have ideas and thoughts in your head. You go to communicate them and nobody's listening. They dismiss you. You're not being heard. You're not making sales. And that's very, very debilitating and will eat away at your confidence. I know that firsthand. There's a thing called pitching. Apparently, I'm very good at it, and I came out of the womb pitching. And I'm not joking about that. My very first job, and all I wanted to do was be an actress. was I walked into a room and there was a pen on the desk in front of a TV camera, and it said, "Sell me this pen." And I thought, I don't like to sell. I didn't grow up with money. And I got very uncomfortable, but I am an actress. And I said, I looked at all the other actors who were going to audition. I looked at that camera and I said, it's a funny thing about pens. See, I was 16 years old when I went to college. I was really young, and my mom used to write me longhand notes every morning. I would race to that mailbox, grab them and read them, and realize that a pen like this can reach out and touch somebody's heart. Well, Jake of Body by Jake comes out from the camera, grabs my face and says, "You're going to make me a whole lot of money. I'm going to show you something." There was no onboarding, no training for this job. I created it as I went. I just understand how to do something that apparently other people don't. And it's called pitching. And so this was the TV series that he gave me.
They're more convenient now, 24 hours a day. Now get ready for the latest in sports, fashion, and exercise gear on Fitness Plus.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and today we've got a great product for you. Take a look at this. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and that's by
You are seeing this, right? I'm on the right screen?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Hearing
popular
it.
demand, the best way to develop rock-hard abdominals. Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and welcome to Fitness Plus. Now, if you want to burn calories and tune your whole body,
Beauty consultant.
So you're listening to me talk, right? These are all individual pitches. I did 1,500 of these in 5 years. People would come to me, companies would come, like the bread man here or the smile guy or the slam man, and I would tell them how to pitch this. I don't know where it came from. Jake obviously identified that. He sold this network, Jill, for $500 million to Fox TV in 1993. And I was the engine behind all of those. And then infomercials happened. And together with lots of other people, I helped create the concept of infomercials and home shopping. That was my time. Like, how did that even, that was a career path? Did you get a master's in marketing? No, none of this. I have a degree in political science and one in performing arts, and nothing to do with this. This is, and I didn't know it at the time. This was my day job. This was like me being a waitress, because one of my actor friends said, you sell crap on TV. I'm like, and you're a waitress. Which one of us is a better actress? I'm making an insane amount of money. I can make 50 to 100,000 in a day, and you're working for tips. I got to tell you, and mine's on television. So while I got a lot of ridicule, a lot of flack for what I did, I made a ton of money. I invested in a great life, and because I took the business part of show business very seriously, and this whole thing of pitching. Well, I never wanted to teach pitch, Jill. One day I went to my agent, and I was the number one female pitch girl there was. And I took a $100,000 contract to my agent, and he said, "Great, I'll negotiate it for you." Calls me 2 days later. He said, "I got some good news and some bad news." I said, "Okay." "Yeah, the good news is they love you." I'm like, "Of course, it's my client." He said, "Yeah, but the bad news is they really want somebody younger and less expensive, and I found her for them." I'm like, "Excuse me?" He said, No, but they want you to teach her how to pitch." I said, "I'll call you back when hell freezes over." And I said, "I'm never teaching this. I have a skill that literally prints money. I will never teach this to anyone." Well, fast forward 20 some odd years, COVID hits. My 17-year-old daughter is upstairs. And she said, "Hey, Mom, I'm really good at this back-end digital marketing stuff. Why don't we launch a pitching company for you and build your legacy?" And I said, "No." She said, "Mom, you're at a certain age now where if you don't talk about this, you will have no legacy, but you'll have had a great life. Is that what you want?" 17-year-old, very smart girl. We put together my program. She literally said, "Mom, if I watch what you're doing and analyze it, you do a couple of things. Can you tell me, what do you do here and why are you doing that?" And I did. And we came up with a program. We created the ultimate pitch formula. And it's a very specific step-by-step formula that I now teach. And the reactions are, "Oh my God, I am so comfortable. I know my messaging. I feel good about myself, and I'm making sales." Does it get any better? And for years when we were talking about this, people go, "Oh, I don't need to know how to pitch." Hello? Pitching is not a sales skill. It's a life skill. Jill, you pitched me to be on your program.
You did.
Yes. And I said, yes. Pitching is about getting yes. Let me show you something real quick. And this is what's so crazy about this skill. I have here let's just say I've got a blank piece of paper, right? Jill, question for you. Ready?
Mhm.
Would you like to see something cool?
Absolutely.
So you just said yes. How did I know that? You actually gave me 2 yeses. So you're playing on one level. I'm playing on a completely different level because I know how to get you to do what I want you to do. If you knew how to get a yes, could you close more business? Absolutely. Could you feel more confident? Absolutely. And that's the name of the game. And I can do that anytime, anywhere, and outpitch anyone on any product. But now I can teach you. It's a skill that needs to be practiced because you cannot learn to swim from a book. I can show you how to swim. I can make you read all the things, but you got to get in the water. I'm going to show you this. There's 6 steps to this. And then you practice it. And the better you get at it, the more you're like, oh my gosh. It's literally, Jill, the reaction of my clients, which is why I have 21,000 in 3 years, is like pulling the curtain back going, I never even thought of that. Wow. So I'll play a game with you real quick. Jill, what are you known as?
The connection queen.
What was with the queen? Did you not, you don't know what you do?
Well, I
know
do.
that.
I don't usually call myself queen. I've always also heard of myself as the reinvention queen, but my brand is a connector. I'm a connector.
No, I know, but I was just watched that one moment.
I paused because I've never said
pause.
queen. I've never said queen with it before.
Well, so grow up and enjoy being the queen. Hello.
All right. I'm going to.
But see that little hesitation, that's a whole teaching. That's a whole teaching moment for me. Because when you go to meet someone in business and you're like, hey, what are you known as? Well, I'm like, I'm the queen. No, you know what? You're going to own it. You're going to understand what it means. And then you're going to have a next sentence, because I have a little template I call 1 minute to millions. So if you're known as the connector queen.
Yeah, connecting queen.
Because why? In one sentence.
Because I love connecting people to amazing things they don't even know about.
Okay. So now are you open to some coaching?
Always. This is good. This is going to help everybody and me, of course. It's good for you and me.
Never use the word in the title, in the description. You can't define something with the exact same word.
Okay.
That's the person. So because you're good at connecting. Second thing is the second sentence in this is irrelevant what you think. Who are you talking to when you say that? You're talking to the person listening, right?
Okay.
What do they need to know most? So if you believe that they need to know something about the connecting queen, tell them something that sparks their ears, not you. So do you have programs that you do for Connecting Queen? Or you have people who want to come to your podcast?
I do, but I don't have a program for it.
All right. Well, so let's say you're going to introduce yourself and you want people to come on your podcast or maybe invest in your podcast, do some sponsorship. Would that work? All right. Yep. So that's the end goal here. So the beginning goal is, hi, everybody. My name is Jill Collins. I'm known as the Connecting Queen because I have a podcast that reaches over 50,000 people with X amount of downloads. And the reactions I get from guests are, this was the best interview they've ever had.
That's what I hear, actually.
Right. But there's no I's, G, but that's the sentence. That's why you're called the Connecting Queen. And that's going to get you to connect with a sponsor. And boom, you're going to get a yes and money.
Yes, that's true. And I do get the response I get is, your interviews are amazing because I learned something and I realized something that I didn't know was possible that I realized I could do.
Well, but see, I'm going to say, don't go down that road, because if you're talking to a guy now this is part of the,
so who's the person I'm going to, when I'm talking to the advertiser, it's the people that I'm interviewing, not the people who are watching.
Well, that's step 3 in the ultimate pitch formula, is a thing called assumptions. The problem with most people when they pitch, one, it's got nothing to do with you. It's only about the reaction you're going to get from the other person. You want them to take out a credit card, or you want them to come on your show. So don't throw up who and what you are all over them and tell them statistics and things they don't need to hear to make a decision. It's like, oh, wait a second. So if you're pitching your podcast to an investor, don't go off on all those things. Go off on what is it we have, because the next step in the formula is you want to figure out, what does that person suffer from? So if you've got an investor coming to you who likes to invest and promote podcasts, you know that fact, right? What do you think the biggest problem that they suffer from is?
Getting good podcasts with good audience. Excellent.
So now if you say that you're the podcast connector or you're the podcast connecting queen, what do they need to hear? I have X amount of downloads. I have these great reviews, and that's what that person needs to hear from you. And they're going to go, wow, I want you. And that's all you need to pitch, not all the other things that you want to say, because for that person's ears, those are irrelevant.
Got it.
Now, if you're pitching it to someone to be on your show, what do they want? Especially if they're very famous. What's the biggest thing they suffer from if they're famous?
How many subscribers do I have and how many viewers do I have?
Well, no, that's what they want to know, but what they suffer from. You always want to solve their problem.
Okay.
So they suffer from having great questions by a skilled interviewer who doesn't make them look bad, and you have a great audience for exposure. So if you said to somebody who's a celebrity going, look, you've probably been on a lot of podcasts. I have a knack for doing the most amazing research and asking you questions that will make you look good, because that's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
I will promote something that you're doing, no problem. And I have an audience of X, and I promise to help promote this so that you can exponentially get more visibility. Well, that's all that they want. So you give that to them and they're like, oh, I don't want to hang with you.
Yeah.
And so this is a skill, and you need to practice it because, as you can tell, there's more pieces to the formula, but it's so actionable. And the more yeses that you get, the more confident you become, don't you?
Yes. And
Exactly.
And the more lives that I touch, because the more people are impacted by it, which is my real end game. That's what I
Right.
want.
Here you go.
Well, this is amazing. And I know you have the program available. I'm going to put the links in the description below so everyone will have access to that so they can find you.
Well, you know what? The best thing people can do is just go to ForbesRiley.com. If you go
Okay.
there, you'll find links to everything. I have a free gift for you guys, a couple of fun downloads of templates that you can get. I have a program called 1 Minute to Millions. And then whatever I have upcoming, I just put there so that you guys can see it. This is another thing. A confused mind doesn't buy. And so very often when you have a guest on your show and they start telling you all the 5 ways to find them, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. It's at Forbes Riley 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't they get confused? Why don't you just have one hub, my name, it's right there on the screen, ForbesRiley.com. Everything is there.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Forbes. What else do you have for us? Tell us something. I know what I was going to ask you is give us this. You said, I saw it in one of your videos. So pitching, because I'm not a salesperson. I rejected and resisted selling for so long, although I do it.
No, but you want coaching? That's exactly what
that's what you just did. Yeah. But even the sentence that you just said, you said, I hate sales. Yes.
Because how do you define? Why would you ever do a hard sell?
Because here's my limiting belief story is because the way I've been taught by so many people that are experts have said, you've got to do the pain pleasure, you've got to do these, here's the script, here's the way to do it. And it feels icky to me. And so, yes, but I've watched you and I'm going, okay, the way you do it is it's really, you're meeting a need. It's not about the sell. I love that.
I don't really care. I don't really care about the sell. You're going to buy what you want. So I'm going to make you want what I have.
There's the nugget.
And that's pretty much my, you're going to buy it from somebody. So I have a fitness product here, right? This is a very hard sell because the real way to get someone to like this is when they touch it, they can feel the resistance and it vibrates. You're like, everyone who touches one wants one. That's a given. But I cannot do that through a TV camera, right? So here's what you don't do. And this, everybody who's an entrepreneur, please listen to this. This is a very expensive coaching. If you tell people what they need, they will reject you. It's just how it is. You never buy anything you need either. You only buy what you want, what you've decided you want. And so if I'm sitting here and I'm saying, you really need to tone your arms. You really need to look sexy in a dress. No, you don't need anything. And you certainly don't need a new product in your life. But Jill, pick your arm up like this, if you would. Touch the back of your arm, which looks beautiful, by the way. But if there's any little wiggly jiggly, which happens to almost everybody after the age of 12, and I'm going to tell you, this is the exercise that you do for the wiggly jiggly. You do because the resistance goes up to 24 pounds every time you pull it. You do that for 5 minutes, 3 times a day. 3 weeks later, you're going to go, oh my God, it's so tight. Jill, let me ask you a question. Do you want to spin?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I want it.
Because you want the result of what this can do for you.
Yes.
And as soon as you do that for someone else, they want it. And I make sales every day. I'll go into restaurants, on airplanes. It's kind of a joke with my team. Everywhere I go, I'll just do basically that. I know what you want. And then when you meet someone like Joshua, who's super fit, they don't want that. You know what they want? They want a new fun gadget that they can warm up with in the gym, as opposed to having to do jumping jacks and stretching. Oh, I'll want that. Or I've got a woman who doesn't want to leave the couch, but she'd like to be a little fitter. Great. She doesn't care what her arms look like. She just does what she wants to. Her doctor said she wants her heart to move. You want to move and not get off the couch? I got something that you want. And I stress that word. And you know what, Jill, makes me crazy? I teach this and I'll still have somebody start with the word, well, you need this. I'm like, oh, did you not hear what I said? So we practice pitching all day, every day. And you know what else you get when you do this? You get to go to your favorite restaurant. You get to go on the vacation that you want. You get someone to ask you to marry you because you learn how to pitch. Got nothing to do with sales.
Ooh, okay. Everybody listen up to that one. It's not just pitching. And you're right. It's getting people to figure out what they want. I call it the currency, when someone's currency is, when I'm trying to, because my background in politics is being a diplomat kind of is figuring out what is it that people, what are people going to need? What's in it for them? So
Yeah.
finding out what for them, what do they want? What is going to move the needle? And it's knowing what their currency is. What is going to move them? And so that's what this is. I never even realized that. Brilliant. I just had a breakthrough today, everybody. I hope you all did too. I had a lot of breakthrough.
Love it. I love it. Well, you know what I did too. I mean, I'm so excited to meet you and your tribe and all the things that you managed to build because you've got a great energy and a light about you. And that's what I'm attracting in my life. And it's been extraordinary. The more that you get what you tolerate. I have a lot of isms. I'm going to open up my own magnet store for refrigerators. But they're more than that. They're things that I live by. And I notice every time I tolerate less, I guess I must have instilled this in my daughter because she has a very low tolerance for negativity and certain things. And we were waiting for someone to show up yesterday for a meeting, and it was supposed to be at 2:00. It was 2:19. And she's like, I'm just canceling. I want nothing to do with them. And I'm like, but I really like them. And I can just understand their excuses. And she's like, Mom, why are you tolerating mediocrity? And I thought, that's I taught you this. And you embody it a little better than I do because my little girl still wants to be liked. Her little girl is like, look, if you're late, you're being rude and disrespectful to me, you don't belong in my world. And it's like, whoa, she only takes meetings on Monday. I have a lot to learn from her. I taught her and now she's teaching me. I only take meetings on Monday and Tuesday. I'm like, how do you do that? She's like, because the rest of the time I'm working, I don't want to be bothered. I'm like, I've actually included some of her principles into my life and it changed. I didn't realize the boundaries. I let people, even who I am, but I let people abuse my time because it's a little level of respect. And for me, and I know it comes back from being liked. And even though I've broken through that a lot, you never get over everything 100%. And that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. But I'm looking at her and I'm wildly respectful because that is how high-level CEOs and billionaires operate. I have a friend of mine who's a billionaire. I get on the phone with him. He starts every call the same way. Hey, Forbes, nice to talk to you. I've got a hard out in 8 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah.
I
have friends like that and they get shit done.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you honor their time as well because you know what to expect.
Yep.
I would love to ask one other question about
Wait, hang on. Now, this would be my son. Riker Riley, are you there? You're on air. Don't say anything embarrassing.
Oh, everyone. Just wanted to call my mom back. Tell her I love her.
Yeah, and that's all that did you hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I love you too, my baby. Don't make sure you check in with your airline. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning. I love you.
Yes, I cannot wait to see you. I love you, Mom.
Bye. That's when you raise a twin, that's spending a lot of time and devotion to two kids. I've got a boy who, when I was told when he was younger that, wait till he's 10 years old, he'll be embarrassed by you and won't want to hug you and kiss you and you have to park 3 blocks away from school. This boy, who now is a man, loves his mom. He hugs and kisses me and he doesn't mind holding my hand. Like we'll sit in a movie theater and I'm like, Riker, you're like every little dream come true. And I was very specific and intentional. I had them when I was a little bit older and I implemented all of these crazy ideas. He said, Mom, some of the things that you did with us, I have to really thank you for. Like I didn't punish my kids. I made them punish themselves, which is really interesting. Because I said to my need to be liked, right? I said, you did something wrong. I'm supposed to punish you or spank you or ground you. I'm not the bad guy here. You give yourself a punishment. And they were like, huh? So it'd be like, all right, I stayed out too late. Here, take my cell phone for the weekend. Like, that works. And what happened is now that he's in college, he's like, Mom, that was like freaking genius. He said, because nobody tells me what to do here and I'm responsible for my own consequences. I'm like, I know. That's what I trained you to do.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. What a beautiful, you just raised the kids so well. You're such a role model in so many ways. And I love what you said, because I'm the same way, is wanting to be liked. And I've come a long way, and you said you have as well. How does that impact us in that need to be liked and that people pleasing? How have you gone through that, and what have you done? We'll end with this because I know you've got to run, but love to hear about how you've done that.
Let me tell you something. I'm never going to get over that 100%. That is part of my MO. And by the way, it's allowed me to accomplish fantastical things. I have a wall full of all the things I accomplished because I wanted to prove to my parents how wonderful I was. Look, I did this. Look, I did that. Look, I did this. And it wasn't to show off. It was like, that was my currency, as you said earlier. And you know what it comes down to now? I don't mind. I do want to be liked. I deeply want to be loved and respected. And it's very, very important to me that is part of what happens. I didn't matter as a kid. Nobody cared. And so I'm living out this dream. I just did an event 2 nights ago, a virtual event with 200 of my students called the Excellies. It's like the Oscars for entrepreneurs. And I just got loved on, and I got a beautiful trophy surprised by my students and all the nice things that they said about how we help them. It never gets old. It never gets old to be respected. I am an actress. I've been an actress my whole life. During my 20s, every day, all day, I got rejected. And I know you study with Tony, who talks about significance and rejection. Well, I'll tell you what, my 2 highest things back then, which is why I was miserable, was I was going after significance and wanted to be a star and hated being rejected. Yet every single day you are told as an actress, it's part of the deal. You're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too pretty, you're too ugly, you look like my sister. And every day I worked all the time. This is the irony and the ludicrousy of that business and of human nature. I would book work all the time, and I would only dwell on the audition that I screwed up, or the time I didn't get it, or why didn't they want me for that? And even though I can intellectually understand some of that, I still deeply processed it, because at the core of this, whether you like it or not, there's a little kid inside of you who has an operating system that was established by the time they're 4 or 5, has thoughts and wants and dreams. And when you're at odds and you keep telling that little kid that you're not enough, you're ugly, you're this, I'm nervous, whatever you tell them, they believe. And it's partly a little kid, it's partly just your subconscious. And your subconscious, which takes over when you go to sleep and keeps you breathing and hair growing and nails and heart beating, has no sense of humor. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm a hypnotist. When I've hypnotized people and I say to them, Jill, you can't remember the number 3. Count your fingers. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, just try 4. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. College graduates, I'll go, did you come in with 6 fingers? And they're like, huh. Because for that moment in time under trance, you can get your subconscious, which doesn't have a sense of humor, you can tell it things. And if you've ever been to a hypnotist show, and I highly suggest you go and be in it, because you're kind of like, well, why am I behaving this way? Because your subconscious and conscious have these 2 things to them. And you think that you're in charge as the conscious person, but you're not. If you're a mom, what day did you make your baby's fingers? I didn't do anything. I was pregnant for 9 months. I didn't really do anything. Something else took care of everything, made the babies, popped them out, and it's like, wow, how did that all happen? So you just must be very kind to yourself. And that is why saying positive affirmations, that is why loving yourself, looking in the mirror, going, you are enough and you're beautiful, starts to sink in. And the more that you do this, I feel it's like taking off winter coat after winter coat. You're never completely done. There's always something more deep, fun to uncover. But if you can just find your own level of happiness, like you, helping other people, being present, not being negative, and just enjoying the time you have on the planet, and then not being too sad when people leave the planet, because people are leaving the planet in my world all over the place. You get to a certain age and it just happens. I know a lot of people. And you can't get too sad about that. And I'd love you to have you on my podcast. I'd love to, talk about how you experience with your husband, because there's a lot of women lately who have lost their significant partner.
Yes.
And how you deal with that, how you've gone through that, I think is a conversation worth having.
That is actually a program I do have that I've coached divorced and widow women on this. It's really a struggle. I want to, and I'd be happy to. Thank you for the offer. I think what you said too is just that we deeply want to be loved and respected. And I think that was something, as I say, I want people to walk away from this every interview and say, I can do that. I didn't know that was possible. It doesn't always happen for me personally, but that one today, you taught me that. I can say it's okay to, because as a people pleaser, a reformed people pleaser, growing through that process or wanting to be liked, running for office and losing by 83 votes in Tampa 20 years ago.
Oh,
this race and the election cycle in the state of Florida that year, it took me 20 years to get over that, Forbes. 20 years. It still, hits me a little bit. But
no, but see that. Okay, so that's something that I would coach you through, because the fact that it hits you at all is not good anymore.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you have an energy and a stuckness about that's irrelevant. You weren't supposed to win. It was not your job.
Right. Oh, I do know that cognitively. I know that cognitively.
But you don't know it here.
But I don't know it here. Yep. Believe me, after all these years, it's gotten better. But I tell you, boy, for many years, it was just, I was really hard to get going. But you taught me something that it's okay to say, because people always ask me, well, why do you want to do all this for free all the time, Jill? Why do you just want to give and give and give, pour from an empty cup, which I'm not doing. I'm learning from you. And I've learned in the past year or two is ask for what you need, and don't be afraid to give and receive. And so I'm doing that. But what I got from you today was so brilliant was when you said, it's okay to say, Jill, I deeply want to be loved and respected, because that's really what it is. At the end of the day, why am I doing this? I want to be loved and respected.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could say that. I thought that'd be like, oh, that's kind of like, yeah. But I love that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I tell my students that all the time. I said, here's what I want from you. The money is nice. All the training is nice. I want to thank you. I want you to give me a great testimonial and tell me how much I changed your life, because that's why I'm doing this. So I love hearing that. And it equates to a level of respect that it's okay to, I love that you just reiterated that to me, because that's important.
Yes, thank you for that. And I think when that happens to me, when someone says something to me like that, how much I touch them, it's like there's no money in the world you could pay me. You just can't. It's just so. It's the greatest feeling ever, is to know that you've impacted the life of someone. It's addicting.
Well, this has been addicting. You're amazing. I do have to go though.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
I
so
want
much.
to thank your audience for paying attention. If you guys are interested in all the wonderful things that I have to teach, from how to pitch to how to just love on yourself and break through your bullshit, reach out to me at ForbesRiley.com.
Yeah, and I'll put the links below, because I know you did send me your affiliate links, so we are doing that. But yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about. Part 2 is coming.
Part 2 is coming. Thank you, everyone, today. Thank you, Forbes. I really appreciate y'all being here. Please share, subscribe, and give this to someone else. Like I said, share and give us your comments. Let us know what you thought of today. What do you want more of from me? Tell me what you need, and we'll give it to you. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
I gotta go.
Stay connected. Bye.